and welcome to this video. My name is Mirjam and I love everything about books. In 2021 I challenged myself to read 365 books, and every week I post a weekly wrap-up video to tell you about the books I read in the past week. In the weekly wrap-up video I talk about the books I read from Saturday till Friday. So this week's weekly wrap-up video is about the books I read from Saturday the 1st of May until Friday the 7th of May. And to be honest, I'm filming this on Friday the 7th of May and I have not finished one book I am talking about that I finished because I know for sure that I will finish it today. I simply have to. And if you add that book, then I finished 6 books in the past week. I read 3 physical books and 3 ebooks. So, and actually the fun thing is I first read 3 physical books and then I read 3 ebooks. So the first 3 books I'll be able to show you. The first book I finished was Yes, Papaja Tarawa, which is my very own book. It's the sequel to Help Mom is in Love, and its title can be translated as Yes, Daddy is Getting Married. And yes in Dutch actually is used as an expression of celebration. Also to say yes, but usually if you say it in Dutch and the whole sentence is Dutch, it's usually to say you're celebrating something. So yeah, it was fun to read. I can't review this book because I wrote it myself. You're not reviewing books you wrote yourself. But I did give it 5 stars on Goodreads. Shh, don't tell anyone. The next book I finished was The Humans by Haig. I was looking forward to this book a lot, and it's not that I was disappointed, but I thought this wasn't as great as The Midnight Library. But that probably had to do with some of the things that Haig presents as facts, which are not facts. If you read this book, you maybe know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to talk about it that much. But there were actually a lot of great quotes in this book, and one was actually that happiness is there for me on the other side of hurt. I really remember that one, and I think that's going to be a very interesting quote which I'm going to use in times that I don't feel that well. That happiness is there. It exists on the other side of hurt. I think that was the correct expression. So yeah, I gave this a solid 4 stars. It was a great book. It definitely was. So the next book I read was another Dutch original, Spanning in the Duiventil by Gerda Ronhaar. It's the 4th book in the Duiventil series. As you might know, I read 1 book every month of this series, and these are all rereads, and well, usually I did not really like the 4th book when I was younger, but now I do. I like this book in a way that I appreciated it more than I did when I was younger. The next book I read was also a Dutch original. It's Kemper's The Monstrans, which is a sequel to the 21st Mine book I read in April, I believe. This is by a colleague of mine, at least I call him my colleague. He publishes at the same publisher as I do, and they are middle grade books, and I really like reading a middle grade book once in a while. It was quite fun to read. Actually, that series reminds me of books that I used to read when I was 9 and 10 years old, and that actually brings back great memories, so I will keep reading those books. The next book that I read, I actually started it as an audiobook on, I think I started it on Saturday or Friday evening, I don't know. It's Memories of Glass by Melanie Dobson, and I wanted to continue that book, so I put it on a high speed so I would fly through the story a bit more. But on the other hand, that did not feel really great because I think I missed some bits of the story. And then on Thursday evening I discovered that this book was also available as an ebook, so I started reading it as an ebook, and then the story started to mean so much more to me, and I actually cried because there was a scene and one of the main characters dies. I'm going to say this. I'm not going to say her name. And the way that scene was described, it just... I think I've read it like 5 times and I couldn't believe that she was actually dying, and yeah, the way it was described was so beautiful. I don't think I've ever read a more beautiful death scene than that scene. This book probably has its flaws as well, and some of the characters were some of the storyline for the characters, like their family tree, was very complicated, but that was alright because of that one scene that was so beautiful, and that's why I gave this book 5 stars. I mean, I can give books 5 stars if I want to. I mean, why not? And the last book I read is a book that I have not finished yet, but I will finish today, so I'm counting it towards this weekly wrap-up video goal thing, and that's Truly Madly Guilty by Liane Moriarty. I've read, so far, with this book, I've read 4 books by Liane Moriarty, and this one, I think I'm about 50% through, and something terrible has happened to these characters, because you read, like, on the day of the barbecue something terrible happened and you don't know what happened, and you read about now, like 2 months after the barbecue, and the lives of these people have changed so much, so you really want to know what happened. I don't know it yet. And on one hand I'm like, it has to be something terrible, but on the other hand, I don't know, it takes a bit too long for the story to get to the point, and I want to get to that point, but well, it's difficult. I don't know yet what I think of this book, but I think I like it the least of all the books I read by Liane Moriarty so far. But maybe I will change my mind when I read the ending. I might say a few words about that in next week's weekly wrap-up video. So these were the books I read in the past week. I'm like on track with my challenge. I was ahead, but now I'm back on track. I love being ahead of my challenge, so hopefully in this past weekend, because you see this video on Monday, but I still got the weekend, so hopefully in a weekend I will be able to read a bit more, so I'm ahead of the challenge again, because I really like that feeling. Anyway, did you read a great book in the past week or past weeks? Let me know in a comment, and as always, happy reading!